So here you can see again two different series of photos, doubles, where someone is at work and someone is at home with their family. And it's very fascinating to me to see the contrast of the work versus home life. Here's some photos at work in the steel industry. This led to a series called Family of Miners. Again, it's the same concept of people at work and people at home and capturing them in their entirety. So he actually won the W. Eugene Smith Award for documentary photography in 1983. He was able to travel to and capture the lives of miners around the world. This is really interesting to me because he was able to travel to so many different places, and you can see a lot of similarities and commonalities between people, even though they come from 10 different countries: China, Spain, Zimbabwe, Mexico, Cuba, Germany, France, the former Czechoslovakia, Scotland, and yep, start looking at the photos. So as usual, I kind of formatted it as above and below. So we have a photo of a miner in Mexico and his family, and a miner in Scotland and his two little fur babies. We have two people at work in Czechoslovakia and Germany, and you can see their home lives. The difference between a very dirty job and a very clean home. It's very interesting. We have Cuba on the left and China on the right. So, as I mentioned in the beginning, Milton is from New York City, and he went to Buffalo to reside with his wife, and that's where he had his primary optometry practice when he was still practicing. So he took a series of photos in the East Side in 1961 through 1963, which we'll see first, and the following photos are in the Lower West Side. They include photographs of Native Americans and their life in Buffalo, 1963 through 1971. And following that will just be portraits of different people and families in the community that he lived in. So this is just a series that spans over many, many years because this is his hometown. Okay, you can see on the right-hand side one of his most famous photos, beautiful photo. Okay, here are a couple of photos of women in the East Side. You can see again that people allowed him into their homes. Often people were just really comfortable with Milton and Anne, which I always admire in photographers. It takes a lot of guts to approach people you don't know and take photographs of them. Okay, here's some photographs from the Lower West Side of Native American communities. Okay, as I mentioned here, in the Lower West Side, started taking a lot of photos there in 1972. This marked the beginning of nearly 3 decades of study. The series evolved into doubles, triptychs, and quartets, taken in the early 80s, 1992, and 2000, respectively. So here are some photos from the Lower West Side in the 70s. Some more photos in the 80s. You can see a little stylistic change in there. Here's a triptych, so you can see from left to right the progression of time and the effect it has on the two people in the photos. And lastly, this quartet, which is gorgeous. Start in the top left corner and go clockwise, and you can see the trajectory. Actually, the bottom right photo is probably the last one, and you can see that the mother's probably passed away by that point. So my choice of Milton Rogovin was very easy. Once I found his photos, they really touched me. I wanted to learn more about him, and I think that I relate to the fact that he was not raised in an artist family, but he chose to capture life through the photographic lens, which I can relate to because I also was not raised in an artist family, but I do love the art of photography and I love taking photographs of people, especially in people in the neighborhood, your everyday person. Um, to wrap it up, Milton really had a focus on what he called the forgotten ones. Um, as I mentioned, he took photos of communities that are often ignored, stigmatized, and stereotyped. And I love that he sought to convey each person's everyday life with a lot of dignity and strength. He'd often return to the same subjects over and over throughout the decades, and there was one woman who's photographed in 1972. She recalled the first time he took a photo of her and her mother. Her mom was so excited. She felt like a movie star because Milton was coming over. Photographs can be so powerful for so many reasons, and they record the paths of time through objects, landscapes, nature, historical events, cultural movements, and fads. But what has always been the most moving to me is photographs of social movements and candidates of your everyday person. Milton was an everyman who never knew he'd become an artist, but I love his unpredictable trajectory towards activist artist. It's very inspiring to me. I hope you enjoyed my presentation. Can't wait to watch all of yours. Thank you so much.